In April 2013, Jessica Kinski and Patrick Downs had been married 7 months when they stopped to watch the marathon. The first bomb destroyed both of their left legs and badly damaged her right. It would be 2 weeks before they saw each other again. In the hospital, the couple was visited by a group of Marines, including BJ Ganem. They were members of the Semper Fi Fund, an organization for disabled vets. You had shared experiences in having lost limbs. What were you able to tell them?
That life wasn't over. It was going to be different than anything you've ever imagined.
You've gotten to know this couple. Tell me about them.
They're amazing. They're not just a couple, their whole extended family, everybody. I just love it. I feel it as almost a part of my family. Like I look forward to coming here and seeing them. And every time they do something great, I just feel so proud. And I mean, their personality and their fun-loving way of life and just how they've taken this disaster, this tragedy, this act of malice, and just turned it on its head and turned it into something great and hopeful.
Patrick, tell me about when you first met these guys.
I was in a severely medicated state. And so all of a sudden, I see these big, strong, not so good looking guys walk into my hospital room, and they've got prosthetics. They've got one, they've got two, and in that short time I had been in the hospital, I had crossed off all these things in my life that I wasn't going to be able to do anymore. Running, climbing, biking, and they came in and they said, we have been where you've been, and now we're here visiting you. And we've gotten our strength back, we've gotten our lives back, we've had children, we've gotten married, life goes on. And I've said this a number of times, they didn't have to say any of that. All they had to do was walk in the room. They didn't have to keep coming back, they didn't have to give us hand bikes, they didn't have to give us t-shirts, but they came and they gave us so much of a piece of them that will forever be a part of our experience.
In many ways, you were the victim of warfare as well. I mean, it was terrorism, it was an undeclared war, but the injuries were similar. And I imagine the emotional reaction to it was similar. Were they able to help you with that too?
Well, a lot of the military that we've met have said to us how hurt they were by the bombings in Boston because they saw their job in Iraq and Afghanistan to prevent that from coming here, and they took it so personally. And that meant a great deal to us, and I think it meant a great deal to them to see us alive and still functioning. And the emotional piece can never be understated as to how it transforms the way you view yourself, your interactions with your family, how it puts a stress on a marriage, the financial challenges that it presents, the commitment to being a full-time patient and putting all of your work or school on hold. All of those things we shared with these service members, these wounded warriors, and we found so much commonality with them. Mm-hmm. And being at Walter Reed has been such an added gift for us because we're able to spend almost all day with these guys and see the way that they live and they see the way we live. And these are friendships that we're going to cherish forever. And we feel so grateful that they've welcomed us into their home. You know, it's that place is built for them. It's built because they put their lives on the line to care for all of us. Right. And yet they've welcomed us with such open arms and cheered us on and give me a hard time for being a paper cut. And they love rescue, running around the gym.
And
the dog. Yeah. And they have cheered on Jess through every obstacle that has come her way, and they have such admiration for her. And that's a really special sense of admiration to have. I mean, if you're going to get it from anyone, those are the guys that it means the most from.
The engagement photo is beloved by the whole world. I mean, it's a beautiful photograph in and of itself, but the story that it tells there, take me back to that day. Let's talk about that day a little bit.
We met our wedding photographer in Harvard Square, and we were living just outside Harvard Square, and so that had such meaning to us. And like many days we had off from school or work, we were just enjoying each other's company and having fun in front of a camera and looking forward to a wedding with all of our family coming and celebrating all these years of dating and now the future ahead of us. And, you know, we didn't take that picture thinking that a lot of people were going to see it. We were taking it for ourselves and for our family. But it's a very even more meaningful of a photo now because it reminds us of what that time was like for us and how carefree it was, how easy it was for us to throw on our clothes and walk out the door. And now that's a much more arduous process.
I hate to take you to that day, but I need to ask you about you. I was actually in court when Jess testified, so I heard her very poignant testimony about what happened. But I want to hear from your perspective what was happening right before then and then after, what you remember.
Again, I mean, what happened before the bombing was very much like the day of our engagement shoot. It was fun. It was relaxed. We both had the day off. We cherished the fact that we just had time together. Went to the gym in the morning and worked out, came home and had lunch together. And we were setting off for an adventure down at the finish line of the greatest race in the world. And I'm biased, of course, because I'm from here, but there's nothing like the spirit of the marathon. And so we had gift cards in our pockets to restaurants that we had hoped to go to later that evening and just spend the day together. And it all changed.
Tell me what happened.
I don't remember much of what happened. I only remember beforehand, and after that, the lights kind of went out, either from the blast wave or my head hitting the sidewalk or a combination. Jess tells me that I was somewhat conscious and able to communicate with her. She was hyper alert and had the presence of mind to take her purse strap to tie it around my leg because it had been severed at the time and just to stop the bleeding. And she didn't even know that her clothes were on fire and that her legs were so badly damaged until someone else came over to care for her. And in the chaos of it all, we were separated and brought to separate hospitals. And so we spent the first 5 weeks of our hospital care separate from each other.
There is a photo that I've seen of the two of you in bed next to each other holding hands, but that happened weeks afterward? You were finally...
I think it was about 2 weeks afterwards. Somehow Jess had the presence of mind to call that same photographer from our engagement shoot and wedding and say, we've got another first look coming up. We're going to get to see each other for the first time. And when she called me and told me, I said, you're crazy. I mean, have you looked in the mirror yet? You know, our eyebrows are singed, our hair is singed, we've got bandages all over us. But in hindsight, I'm so grateful that she was there to capture that moment because it was, you know, we were able to talk to each other on the phone, but it was the first time we were able to really make sure each other was alive and okay.
Do you remember just saying, why did this happen to us? What can we do now? I mean, did you have moments of searching with each other like that?
Absolutely. I was lucky to have a lot of family with me at all times, but there is every once in a while I get some moments by myself. And most of it I was overcome with, first of all, the sadness of the fact that people had died. And the second thing that I spent a lot of time thinking about was how amazingly overwhelming and humbling it was that this whole world of people had descended their love and prayers and goodwill on us.
Did you follow the trial?
Yes.
Did you get angry?
I really chose to focus on the courage that it took for all of our dear friends and for my wife to get up and take the stand and recount that day. And still display humor, still display wit as a very clear sign of, you know, you can take our body parts, you can take our sons and our daughters, but you cannot take the spirit that we all have. And we're going to make sure that those people who died, their memories live on, and that despite our limitations, our disabilities, that we keep pushing on.
That's really impressive to me because I was thinking a lot about your situation in particular. That bomb didn't just take your leg and change your life. It took both the legs of your young wife. And for you to be able to control that anger, I'm not sure I have that in me to do.
I mean, there are certainly times where we feel angry or we have frustration and we have vengeance on our mind. But I don't feel like that's a great use of our energy. I hate the fact that my wife is missing her legs. I hate that she has to rework herself and her image of herself as a young woman. I hate that it affects the way we think about our future. I hate that it has taken so much from us. But I also believe, as these guys have experienced and have showed us, we have a really good chance of getting to the other side of this and living really fulfilling lives.
You were newlyweds when this happened. 2 years on now, did this experience strain the marriage or strengthen it?
I think it's done a lot of both. I mean, there have been some really strained times that we've had to go through surgery after surgery after surgery. There are times when I'm far more active than Jess is. There are times when she's had to push me in the wheelchair. But we have also committed ourselves to learning from those strained moments. We've been able to find strength in our moments of weakness.
You both made it back to the marathon last year.
Yeah.
What was that like?
We both knew that we wanted to reauthor that day, and what better way to do it than to participate in some fashion. And we rode right past the spot that just a year before had changed our lives, and we had an opportunity to give a different meaning to that day, and that was really special for both of us.
And you're training for this year's?
Yeah, we're training for this year's. I haven't trained as much as I did for last year's.
Are you making excuses already?
Yeah, but you never know. You never know what might happen. This year is particularly special because we just have so much gratitude for the guys at Walter Reed and for guys like BJ. And we were able to get 6 extra spots from the Boston Athletic Association, who runs the marathon, specifically for guys from Walter Reed, Wounded Warriors, to come up and hand cycle the marathon, because I wanted them to feel hosted by us on our home turf in Boston, and to show them that they are a part of our community just as much as they've welcomed us into theirs. And it's going to be a really spectacular day to see them experience all that Boston has to offer, and to be doing it alongside them. It'll be, I know, it'll be a fun day. I'm sure it'll be frustrating at times. Will be difficult. We'll be sore as can be at the end of it, but it'll be something that we'll always cherish as a thing that we did together.
BJ, I want to ask you, what do folks like me, what do regular folks not understand about having the kind of injury that you both sustained?
Well, I mean, you don't know what you don't know. It's kind of even hard to imagine. I couldn't imagine an able-bodied person to really understand. I remember one time talking with a doctor. He's like, well, you're walking great. Everything should be perfect. Well, he doesn't see, like, when I'm swollen and I can't get in my leg, or when I have a blister on the skin and it really rubs and it irritates, or when the phantom pains are kicking in, or the residual calf that I have is cramping and you can't just stretch your toes and work that out. You know, I grew up in Savannah, Georgia, and I used to love running on the beach. Running on the beach is never the same now, because you get sand inside this prosthetic. First, it's going to break down the carbon fiber. Second, it's going to really irritate your skin. Showering is more difficult. Everything, even, you know, the type of shoes that you buy, you just don't have. So I would never wish this on anybody, and I have it easy compared to many of the other injuries that are out there. And obviously I have it easier as a man, I think, than women do. I mean, they face a lot more challenges with body images in our culture, and I think the shoe issue is a lot harder for them. I mean, one of the first things that Heather Abbott asked me is, can I wear high heels? And I told her, you know, I only tried once in college, but I had both my feet. But I haven't tried with a
We won't talk about that right now.
Exactly. But, you know, so that was a question I couldn't answer. But, you know, so there's so many things to understand. I think as a nation, we just need to understand and be more understanding towards people with disabilities, all kinds, no matter how it happens, whether it's car accident, cancer, disease. There's room for everybody. And I think that we've proven that, you know, there's nothing that can hold us back. And one thing that I really like to see is that that kind of olive branch that's been handed to us, to the military and to the Boston survivors, be handed out to all people with disability, because I think that that's one area in our society that we're really lacking on, that we really need to make more strides into ensuring that people with disabilities can have an active life and have access to all the great things.
And that it's not a defining characteristic.
Exactly.
One of the most poignant moments in your wife's testimony was when Jess was talking about not wanting to give up her second leg that eventually had to be amputated because she wanted to still experience, her feet in the sand and painting her toenails. How do you help her through this?
We just have to be creative together. And if she feels like getting a manicure twice a week because that's still some kind of pampering that she's can enjoy, then that's what we do. Or
maybe you should let her paint your toenails.
Well, that has actually been put on the table once before.
Right.
You don't seem too receptive to it, though.
No, well, I would do it if it would make her feel better. She might go after our dog too and try to paint his toenails. Maybe that would be a better solution to it. No, I think we have to be creative. The feet aren't there anymore, and my one foot is not there anymore, and so we have to find other ways to make her feel beautiful, make her feel special, make her feel like a woman, and whatever that is, we just go and do.
When you look at that now famous photo, do you still see yourselves in that picture?
Oh yeah. You can see the sass on Jess's face, and that's like in her core. It's drilled down into her bone marrow, and there's still plenty of that right now.
I heard the point made that this is not going to be about Johar Tsarnaev.
No.
That people won't remember his name in 5 years.
Who?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. In fact, we don't use his name. We hate that from some of the other tragedies that have befallen our country, that some of the names of the perpetrators have become household names. We hate that. Mm-hmm. I can't name you some of the people who've died in other catastrophes around our country, and that should not be the case. Mm-hmm. We should remember these people and live on their memories, because that is where we gain strength, that's where we gain resiliency, that's where we gain community, and that's where our attention should be focused. We, I think, have to have faith and hope that our stories, our love, our relationships, our friendships will prevail for many decades beyond when this guy's name is floated around in our homes.